For breaking news, go to iDiskiTimes.co.za.
iDiskiTV powered by World Sports Betting. iDiskiTimes.co.za. It's Kaizer Chiefs 1, Durban City 0. Umdlalo Betway Premiership. Kaizer Chiefs are third on the log, or 19 points, just 2 points behind log leaders. Kaizer Chiefs. Mr. So kind of. What if be careful? They're just 2 points behind log leaders. You can't run away from that fact. And I'm glad they won. The last time they won a Betway Premiership game was way back in August, 30th of August against Golden Arrows. Kwesi Stadium C1, bawinile kuso namhlanje. Same scoreline, 1-0 against Golden Arrows. Namhlanje babuyele Durban. I think ilakhi yabipha because they went there and collected another 3 points. Lindo, besibukele so-2 umdlalo mfethu. Right?
Chap kunjani Shane?
I'm okay.
I think police technical team. Shane, I think quickly ngithatha responsibility ngihlinzele inkomo first. Shane, this was a must win for Kaizer Chiefs. Coming from a high continental progression over the last weekend, they're coming up against of course Durban City, a newly promoted team. I think all they were playing for was chaos, disrupt, and on a counter. To be honest with you, we saw absolutely nothing from Durban City. Considering the fact that also tactically, more to check your approach, we were expecting them. Knowing Kevin Hunt, they were always playing a 4-4-2. But now to check it dynamic, the structure system, he played the 4-5-1 today, making sure that he blocks the central corridors for Kaizer Chiefs to break, giving them the wider areas, making sure good ballet across. You know, sometimes across our corner can be worthless, cannot have substance or be effective. And also what I noticed is that he allowed them to have the ball, but that was static position because Kaizer Chiefs couldn't break central. Every time they wanted to create opportunities, they came from the left hand side. What is more important as well is the counter attacks. I think their primary weapon, Shane, because a quick transition. I think they wanted to get into the Kaizer Chiefs box a little bit quicker, but the Kaizer Chiefs, you have to give them credit from blockade supply. The secondary weapon, in my opinion, from Kevin, while I was studying the game, and more especially in the first half, Bugwama set piece, I think he was looking for an aerial threat. But for me, Kaizer Chiefs, they've always had a problem, and the challenge was, historically even, that's why the challenge even with Mamelodi Sundowns was to break a low block. So for me, what they needed was not just a combination play, but they needed a dynamic runs from midfield. But also, they needed pinpoint crosses, just like what Sirino brought into the Lintuza. For me, that was the weapon in Kaizer Chiefs. And also, Kaizer Chiefs, another credit you have to give them for, I was praising them in the first half, Shane. I said in the first half, they dealt ngama counter-attacker Kevin Hunt. And this is why Ox Mteto against the man of the match. And in my opinion, well-deserved. Because when you're playing against a team like Durban City that plays on a low block, and their primary weapon is to play on a counter-attack, the number 6 now becomes important without the ball. Because the positions that Begawa occupy, check on the ball, because sometimes judge on the ball. But today I knew he had a specific role, because Kevin and Durban City had no business in keeping the ball, because they wanted to play on the counter. The first point of reference was, Master Tuguluini Paula in that deep line low block with 2 blocks. Right, Shane, is to find our quick, pacey wingers, which that didn't happen. Even if Nanomabai Chola A1, A2, you would find Miguel intercepting, you would find Eden McCarthy intercepting, you would find Oxem Teto taking unbelievable positions into that space. But for me, the challenge was to breaking a low block, dealing a counter-attack, and making sure that they don't commit too many fouls, because there can be an aerial threat, which is always a weapon for Kevin Hunt. But Mangotia check Kaizer Chiefs, Shane, in the first half. For me, in the first 15 minutes, they should have scored. They created 2 clear half chances, in my opinion, because if we check Ulilepo with that left foot, he should have scored, for me, in my opinion.
Was he trying to shoot there when he was a cross?
I think he was trying to shoot. I think because Amugia far post. And Ulilepo is one of the most technical players they have at Kaizer Chiefs. I think not every action in football has to be perfect, Shane. Not every action in football will be perfect. You anticipate such moments in the game where Upume 1v1, some of us have done it. Ngenga Puma 1v1 and I scaffold the ball. And for me, I don't want to be hard on Ulilepo with that moment. Yeah. What is more important is that the team got the 3 points. They got it over the line. For me, Abantaba changed game. He came into midfield and the passing precision. He moved the ball a little bit quicker. I think what they wanted to find in the central corridors is that they didn't just need a deep runner or a pass to break lines. I think they needed the ball to move a little bit quicker. And Gaston Sirino, they needed players who have the ability to go behind the midfield. The player that can play in those central spaces, in those central corridors, to find those quick passes or to find those pinpoint passes or breaking in between there. For me, in my opinion, in the first half is one of the reasons why Kaizer Chiefs doesn't create a lot of opportunities. That's why Shane Ngcela, so can they please take the ball to the left-hand side? because he looks, Umtu's got all the qualities that you can think of as a footballer. Uthatha Umtu khona manje.
Umfuni as u-10, umfuna adlale more as a winger.
Umtu can never be a number 10 at Kaizer Chiefs, Shane. He can never be a Kaizer Chiefs number 10, Umtu. And the sooner the better, in my opinion, because this is not criticism. Umtu, if I were to take him and put him in that Mamelodi Sundowns team, I'm not saying he walks into the Mamelodi Sundowns team, but I think he becomes a very good squad player. You take Umtu, Mfaka Orlando Pirates, he becomes a very good squad player. What I'm trying to say, Shane, here is that the boy's got the qualities. He's got the qualities, he's got the technique. In South Africa, there's only a few players that have the ability of kicking about feet left and right. Umtu's got the passing range. He's got the speed to run behind. He's got the football intelligence. What is not clicking for me at Kaizer Chiefs, I don't know why. And that is why maybe for the progression of his own career, so that Angagcina Thola in a situation where he goes on loan, because he is an important player for Kaizer Chiefs. Can they move him into more of a comfortable position, a position that requires him to have requires him to do different things rather than the ones that he's expected to do right now? Because for him to carry Kaizer Chiefs, I don't think he's at the stage now in his career where he can carry Kaizer Chiefs. A player that should be carrying Kaizer Chiefs is Gaston Sirino. You saw when he came into the second half. You can see that he's played matches of consequence. You can see that he's a number 10 that understands that role as well. Their position, sometimes I find him too much. I find him to ground it too much.
He's the one on Kaizer Chiefs. This season, he came off the bench. I think he came off the bench more than he started games this season. Do you believe the technical team at Kaizer Chiefs? I don't want to say about believing because if they didn't believe in him, they wouldn't play him. Do you think they see him as an impact player with Kaizer Chiefs? But as we see, you think he's the player who can carry Kaizer Chiefs? But Kasen Jonga, Kaizer Chiefs, they tend to bring him more as
an impact player.
Yeah.
Minashe, number one, what I know in football is that the player no Gaston Sirino, unless injured or maybe loss of form. But maga fit to Gaston pension. That for me you start him any day of the week. When you speak about the hierarchy in terms of the apex of the PSL players, you count to Gaston Sirino in that space because he's that good, he's that creative, he scores goals, he's got impact. For me, whatever that is happening at Kaizer Chiefs, it has nothing to do with within 90 minutes. I think it's beyond the 90 minutes. And for me, those things can be fixed. Communication, unless maybe communication that maybe relationship you understand, say pugile maybe there's something. But other than that, he's probably their best creative player right now. Number two, Umfundo is playing too far away from goal. But also Umfundo, what he needs to learn as well is, which you mentioned is something very important, speaking about sometimes players, they always play under instruction, which is right, which is fine, Shane. The coaches have become stars of the show. For me, football belongs to the players. Sometimes nanoma ulentu uvila, nanoma are wide on the right hand side. Sometimes have the arrogance to get on a pagati, manuzol charge, uzol kabuza, stint them danamus pome. For me, he plays too far away from the goal, which is my biggest problem. But other than that, every time when he's on the ball, he looks good. Defensively, there's so many things that he needs to work on his game in terms of the work rate. Because when you play as a winger, sometimes you need unbelievable work rate in terms of coverage distance. Other than that, Aiden McCarthy. One more thing I want to speak about to the boy. Mina Shane, I'm not naive. I'm allowed to change my mind when I'm wrong. The boy defensively, the only criticism I will have for the boy now, and I don't like criticizing young football players because Ungezana has proven us wrong. I always make this example. For me, the boy, I need him to understand that I need to have the confidence, Mangmela, which I can take him to war. That's part of his primary job. Is, can I take you to war? And if the answer is no, maybe that's where you start giving praise to a Bombogas who's more of a warrior. But the one thing that umfana you Shane, I'll twatlas the window. Yeah. I'll pull the window. I'll twatlas the window, Shane. I'll twatlas the window, Shane. And the well twatlas umfana ibola if he can get the other right, which is the primary one. And the Tamalak was an exceptional defender to Fabian McCarthy. And I hope Fabian, if he does see this, he will help the boy. Because some of these younger boys sometimes, because Shane, everyone wants to be a coach nowadays. And sometimes there's too many advices from these players. And Beskuluma no when we were on our way home after that incredible performance. And the most important thing when I speak to these football players, I don't like being a coach and overemphasizing certain things because, like I said, Shane, with these boys, everyone wants to coach them. But to Fabian, he must listen to his father. He must listen to his father because his father was an old-time centre back. And some of these boys sometimes because angfuni ubane chamalama, angfuni blah blah blah, too much advice. I think the biggest advice is from his dad. And I hope in Ndlebe umfana ivule because his dad was an exceptional 1v1 defender. But in terms of ball playing ability, I'll twatlaza umfana Lindo.
Lindo masivale mfowethu masivale eDurban's Moses Mabhida Stadium kulapho khona iKaizer Chiefs bidlala khona namhlanje neDurban City and lapho ke bakoleke khona u3 points wabo oqala since the month of August collecting against another Durban team because remember the last time they won in the Betway Premiership was on the 30th of August playing against the Golden Arrows namhlanje making sure ukuthi they collect yet another 3 points but so something moment ngizothatha ngayo kwi next video with uBobo ukuthi why are they not scoring goals in the Betway Premiership. I forgot to ask you that mfowethu because I knew mhlambi we were going to find something but I trust uBobo was going to come and tell us ukuthi mhlambi why iKaizer Chiefs ingakori more than one goal kwi Betway Premiership. But ke namhlanje is Kaizer Chiefs 1 Durban City 0. Thank you so much for watching iDiski TV.
Sharp kunjani bafowethu, igama lami Lindo Pep, the best analyst in the country. Please don't forget to subscribe to iDiski TV. Danko.
This is Bongane Benedict Villagazi, they call me so. Niyazi bafethu, ama coach for life, they are back in winning ways. Please, siyacela ukuthi subscribe iDiski TV.